Hey, I guess I'll go ahead and get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the August webinar for the New Growth Women's Business Center. My name is Lacey Reveley. I am the director of the New Growth Women's Business Center. And today I am excited to introduce to you Igor Soares, who is a business opportunity specialist for the SBA. And he is going to be talking about the Women-Owned Small Business Certification. But first, a little bit about the Women's Business Center. A little bit about the Women's Business Center. We cover 13 counties in Missouri and 2 in Kansas. And my slides are not moving now. Oh, there we go. And we offer a variety of services. This includes business counseling, networking, access to financing, mentorship, business training. We also have a credit building and credit counseling program as well, and we offer that to both individuals and businesses. If you want to learn more about the Women's Business Center, you can visit our website, or you can reach out to us at wbcinfo@newgrowthmo.org, or you can find us on Facebook and follow us and learn about us that way as well. This webinar is being recorded, and we do encourage you to ask questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to throw them into the chat or the Q&A section. I'll do my best to monitor that and get them to Igor so that they can get answered in a timely manner. I'm assuming, Igor, it's okay for you to stop in the middle of your presentation.
Yeah,
if anyone
absolutely.
has a question. Cool. And finally, we are a not-for-profit resource that is partially funded by the SBA. So excited to have you here to present. I guess with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to you. Let me stop sharing my screen here.
Perfect. Let's see here. I also know how to do this. Let me get mine going here. There you go. Can everybody see my screen?
I can see it.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much. Again, my name is Igor Soares. I'm the business opportunity specialist here in the Kansas City District Office. I also have on the call my work colleague, Christian Tadani. He's also on the call, just, in case you guys have some specific questions that I can't answer. He's our outreach marketing specialist in the Springfield office, so he's also here. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the Women-Owned Small Business Federal Contract Program. And just to give a little bit of background and just for reference, really, and I'll talk a little bit more down the road, but the certification process is changing. So if it seems like I'm not talking a lot about the certification process, it's on purpose. I don't want to mislead anyone currently, but I will explain it more towards the end. So I'm really going to focus more on the really about the benefits of the program and the eligibility, and then we can move forward. And once we get more information about the new process, I will of course share with everyone. Like you was said before, you can ask any questions you have on chat, or if you want to come up at the end and ask a question, you can do that as well. And lastly, just to save some bandwidth here, I don't want to for my Wi-Fi, I'm going to cut my camera and share the slides only, and then I'll come back at the end to answer any questions as well. So let's see if this work. There it is. All right. So first things first, and this is usually what everyone asks when we're talking about general, federal contracting, is, how does it work and who am I contracting with? So of course, federal contracting, you will be contracting with the U.S. government. We are the world's largest, customer, period, buying all kinds of products and services. And federal agencies are required by law to provide contract opportunities to small businesses. And we here at the SBA, we're the ones setting goals and monitoring the federal contracting dollars flowing to these federal agencies, from these federal agencies to the small businesses. So I will show you what I'm talking about in a second as well. All right, so what is it for a small business? That's usually what folks, ask, is like, well, it's a lot of bureaucracy. Is it even worth it? And there are a multitude of benefits. It can help you diversify a customer base. You will participate in a growth market. And of course, if you start doing well, you will be able to even out your cash flow, develop a stable long-term client. I mean, the government's not going anywhere. You without a doubt boost your reputation. Contracting with the government, it will look good in your past performance. And through a multitude of resources, you can even expand your business, maybe open up another side of another different industry that you have through joint ventures, subcontracting, mentoring, and partnerships. So these are all really good things. And at the end of the day, you are indeed contributing to the overall mission of supporting the United States, which is always great. All right, so I mentioned at the beginning about the contracting goals. So the federal government, the current objective is to drive 23% of all federal procurement opportunities to small businesses. At the minimum, right? 23% has to go through small businesses. And we divide it into 4 different socioeconomic categories, as you can see right there. We have service disabled veteran-owned businesses, SDVOSB, which has recently increased from 3% to 5% contracting goal. We have small disadvantaged businesses, which ranges from 11 to 14%. We have historically underutilized businesses zones, which we call it hub zone, which is at 3% goal. And we have the one we're talking today, the women-owned small business, which is at 5%. All of these are great ways to remind everyone that there are a multitude of socioeconomic categories that your business can apply for. And of course, if you qualify for those, the more the merrier. It would always help you get a better access to these contracting goals. The interesting thing here as well, so it's worth mentioning, is that last year, we had $178.6 billion go to small businesses. So that was an amazing feat. I think this is probably the highest we've ever done, which translated into even more than 23% of our goals. So we overall, in general, the contracting agencies managed to surpass the 23% contracting goal. And then you can ask, you're probably going to ask, oh, how would these contracts even awarded? And we usually divide into 3 different contracts right there. There are other ones. We don't have to touch on these right now. Just it's a little bit more advanced. But in general, we have a full and open competition, meaning that anyone, be it small or large business, can compete for a contract. And whoever the best person, whoever the person has the best price or capabilities, depending on how they're judging that contract, will win that award. We also have a small business set-asides, which are the ones that are available within the socioeconomic category that I've mentioned before. And we're going to touch on those early on, later on the slides. We also have sole source. So it's really an offshoot from the small business set-aside, which sole source just essentially means that a contracting agency will be able to award something directly to you without the need of competition. So you can see that it goes from, most general up top, number 1, the most general, and it keeps getting even more specific with a sole source. And I'll explain a little bit more about each of these later. All right, so I know I mentioned it earlier that 178.6 billion was awarding small contracting dollars. And this is the one for WOSB specifically. Unfortunately, I could not change this slide deck. This is something that was sent by HQ, and it's somehow locked, and I can't change this graph. I'm gonna have to make my own, but I do have the 23 numbers, but I just want to point it out here. So these are the numbers that we had back, dating back to 2017, and you can see that after 2020, the pandemic hit everyone. The small business goal for women-owned small business have been it has been declining really, but from 5.19, which was probably one of the first years that we were able to hit the small business goal for WOSB at 5%. It started declining again on 2020. 2021 declined even further, and then 2022 we were 4.57. It is worth noting again that we were increasing prior to the pandemic, and in 2023 though, I'm happy to report that this number has gone up to 4.91, which is great. So we are in an upward projection now. So hopefully by 2024 we'll hit that 5% and keep above 5% as everyone's goal is. And we made more than 30.9 billion contracting dollars towards the WOSB program. So again, it's definitely going back up again. I understand that the pandemic hit everyone hard, and a lot of these WOSB businesses had to go off, out of business or had to change their strategy, and that probably shows the decline here. But again, we're going up again on FY23. We are at 4.91. So I'm hopeful that this year, when I'm presenting again, next year, I'll be able to report that we did hit that 5% goal. All right. Again, this is just a quick profile. This is for FY22, but the most important thing here to remember is that over 12.9, so over almost 1,300 WOSB Prime contractors received an award, which is a great thing. And these were the top agencies from FY22. So OPM, SBA, HUD, Commerce, and the NRC. And again, it's OPM, I believe, also did pretty well in 2023. So again, for those on the call that are trying to target agencies, OPM is definitely the one to look at, especially if they are buying what you're selling. All right, so let's touch a little bit more about the WOSB program and give a little bit more background on that. So the program was created to really help women-owned small business grow in certain areas in the government, right? So it was created to help women business have a bigger market in underutilized industries. That's why the women-owned small business, it's NAICS specific. If you are talking to a contracting officer, you're going to see that they can only award women-owned small business contracts for a certain NAICS code. It's not that every NAICS code will apply to a women-owned small business. So it is important to notate that. There are a number of NAICS codes that are available for women-owned small businesses, so I wouldn't worry too much on maybe, I'm sure that you will find one that you can work under that qualifies as as WOSB. It is also important to notate that we do have a subset of WOSB called EDWOSB, which means economic disadvantage women-owned small business right here. And the important thing to differentiate is that some folks get a little confused in that, and EDWOSB is a subset of WOSB, and you can apply for the WOSB certification on its own, But if you believe that you also are an economic disadvantaged business, you can also apply for the EDWOSB as well. The application is a little, requires a little bit more things, and I'll go over that in a second. But a lot of folks get these things confused. They think they're separate and apart, but really is, a subset. And all it means is that if you are eligible and you do get your EDWOSB certification, you can get set-asides not only for WOSB, but you can also get set-asides for EDWOSB. Again, WOSB has some NAICS codes that you can go after, right? And similar to EDWOSB as well. So don't think that you can go after every single contract. You'll be very NAICS code specific. So think of it that way. It's similar to the veteran-owned business, right? If you're a veteran, you can still be a veteran-owned business, and that's that. But it can also be a service-disabled veteran-owned business, right? So if you're a service-disabled veteran-owned business, you can be that and also a veteran. So it's kind of similar to that as well. So it's very, it can get kind of confusing. Some folks don't necessarily understand the difference, but I'll explain a little bit more as we go along. All right, so this is something that has, I think these are the new program initiatives that came out last year. So they have increased the eligible industries that women-owned businesses can do contracts, with. So from 444 NAICS industries, it has increased to 733. So again, there are a lot of industries that you can choose from and be eligible for an award. The folks at headquarters and SBA are the ones that will do the review of your application and determine if you're eligible or not. And they are really trying to, improve the customer experience of that program. And we are going through some new technologies and we're improving all of these things. So hopefully by next month, all of these things will really help you apply and get your approval in as little time as possible, because they're really trying to help potential women-owned small business to get these contracts. So we really don't want firms to apply and wait months and months for some sort of response from us. So headquarters is doing their best to speed this process. And of course, we have increased our resources that we have to offer here for women-owned small businesses. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second as well. All right, so this is the program participants broken down by NAICS code. So as you can see here, it's a lot of 541 subsector NAICS code. You can see right there the difference. There is some, for EDWOSB, there's some construction here. There's an engineering, but it's mostly just services in general. So you can see the difference between the approvals that we had for last year for 2022. But yeah, not every single WOSB firm qualified for EDWOSB. So that's the discrepancy there in numbers. But you can tell that a lot of these industries do need women-owned businesses to work with them as well. All right, so this is the part where I get a lot of questions as well, right? How do I qualify? How do I get started in all of this? So number one, if you are thinking about opening a business, or if you already have one and you're wondering if you, with the business that you have, qualify, you have to remember that the word of the day will be control, right? You have to be in control of your business, right? You have to, of course, be a woman in charge of your business. You have to have at least 51% ownership of that business. You have to have managerial experience over, on the industry that you are working on. So, if you really don't know the ins and outs of that industry, maybe headquarters will be like, well, if you don't know really what you're doing, that means that you don't have full control of your business, right? Again, you have to be in charge of the management of daily operations. You have to be the highest officer in your business. This is mainly, again, going back to control. If you're paying someone else all your money and that person decides to leave, that person will probably leave you in a pretty bad situation, right? So that is definitely something that we had to take into consideration as well. As different from other contract certifications that we have here, there was no minimum time in business. So, if you're applying for the 8A program, for example, we ask you to be in business for 2 years at the minimum. For WOSB, we don't have a minimum time. So you can start your business tomorrow, and you can apply the day after if you want to. Of course, I think you still have to show us all of this, and maybe, being in business for a while help, prove that you have, managerial experience, or, you can manage the daily operations and all of that. But that is the important thing to remember. And of course, you will apply as well if you're seeking federal contracting opportunities. I should just highlight this as well, because I think the last time I did this presentation, someone asked, "Oh, I'm not interested in federal opportunities," and I was like, "Well, then this might not be good for you. If you are interested in local certifications, depending on where you are, they might have one. I know Kansas City has one. If you're interested in state certifications, that's fine, but this is only for federal contracts. So you won't get you access to local or state. So if you're trying to start small, for example, you can maybe research and see what other certifications are offered and where you live, and go from there. But this won't unlock contracts at your city, contracts in the state. It will only give you access to federal contracts. All right. And of course, like I mentioned, if you are trying to also get your EDWOSB certification, you also have to qualify as economically disadvantaged, which you have to meet all of these qualifications here. Your personal net worth minus liabilities, assets minus liabilities, has to be less than 850,000. And these, by the way, I think are pretty updated, because I just checked. It was less, but it has increased. Your 3-year average income it has to be 400 or 1,000 or less, and the fair market value of all assets has to be 6.5 million or less as well. So if you meet all of these qualifications, you can also try to get your EDWOSB certification. Like I said, if you get your EDWOSB, you automatically get your WOSB, and you can claim both, and you can go after 2 different sets of contracts. But if you believe that you don't meet the economic disadvantage one, you can just apply for WOSB certification. That'll be fine as well. All right, so we touched on earlier about the set-aside contracts, and this is just a quick, I'm just going to touch quickly on this as well. Usually when I do this presentation for contracting agencies, I dive even deeper here, but because I'm trying to have them understand how to do these type of awards, but for now, I'm just going to give a quick overview, right? So like I mentioned before, WOSB sort of set-asides can only be done in an industry where women-owned small business are underrepresented, and similar to EDWOSB as well. There is a concept in government contracting, in federal government contracting at the very least, that called the rule of 2, that if you have a reasonable expectation that 2 or more WOSB firms will submit an offer right? You can set that aside for WOSB. And this applies to other certifications as well, but I'm just saying for WOSB specifically. So let's say that there's a contracting agency out there that is interested in doing some janitorial work, and they put it out there. They put a request for information saying, hey, who in Missouri can do janitorial work? And 2 women-owned small business reply and say, we can, right? That's enough already, because that meets the rule of 2. So that's enough justification already for this contracting officer to set this work aside for women-owned small businesses, because at least 2 said that they are willing and able to do the work. So it's great, and that's what I tell a lot of these businesses, especially the ones that are starting, is that, do answer to these requests for informations, because that's how you create demand. That's how you drive a lot of these agencies to award to small businesses. And again, once once they set that aside for women, then you guys can compete, and whoever has the best price or the capabilities, however they're doing that, will win that contract. It's a it's a great way to start, exploring federal opportunities, and really, especially for firms that are in the beginning stages and not very well established, is a great way as well to kind of just understand the ins and outs of federal, contracting world. This is for sole source contracts. This is a little bit different. Like I mentioned before, this can be awarded to one firm specifically without the need of competition. Very much similar to the competition portion as well. You had to first ensure that the NAICS code that you're going after is eligible for award under WOSB or EDWOSB. You have to ensure that the award is going to be made at a fair and reasonable price, just like the competitive one. And this is the key one here. The contract has to be either less than 7 million for manufacturing industry, or 4.5 for any other industry, right? That is the key here. Just because you market it yourself and you got to meet with the contracting officer, a certain agency, and you say, hey, I can do this work, but if the work is above, the work is at 20 million, it doesn't really matter. It has to be competed at the end of the day. So you cannot just gain that, you cannot receive that sole source without competition. But if it's something very small, let's say it's the janitorial work that I mentioned, and the janitorial work is at $2 million, you can try to talk to the contracting agency and say, hey, I've done this before, and you show your capability statement, and then you can definitely get that awarded sole source. If you get to this level, and there is still, of course, some confusion, you can always engage with your SBA district office. The sole source portion of it for WOSB, some agencies get a little confused, but again, this is all bound by regulation, so don't get discouraged if you don't get to the end at the very beginning. We can always help the contracting agencies understand and how to finalize this process as well. Again, this is all bound by regulation, and you're fully able to receive sole source in the WOSB and EDWOSB certification. All right, so this is the new thing. This is fresh, hot off the press. My SBA certification. So SBA is started already upgrading our certification platforms, and beginning of August, they kind of froze any new applications. And the whole reason is that they are creating another platform called MySBA, where they're going to combine every single certification process into one. So before August of this month, if you were a small business and you wanted to apply for, let's say, WOSB, you had to go to a specific website that was only for WOSB, and then you had to upload all your financials, all your tax returns, all those narratives, and you would only get reviewed for the WOSB application or the WOSB certification, I should say, right? And that was it. And internally, and this is, this is now what everyone's saying, but internally, you only had WOSB analysts looking at your application, right? And the same thing happened for firms that were applying for the 8A business development program. If you were if you're a veteran, were applying for the service disabled owned small business, you go to VetCert. If you were an 8A, you go to Certify. If you were trying to apply for a hub zone, you were going to another one as well. So each one of these had separate websites and platforms and had separate analysts for each one of them. And the problem was, of course, is that a lot of these overlap in its eligibility, right? The 8A, for example, it has a economic disadvantage component that is exactly the same as the one for EDWOSB. So chances are that if you qualify for EDWOSB, you're probably going to qualify for 8A as well. So, but what was happening is that we were making, the small businesses apply for different platforms, and each one of them had different review times. And for you had to apply and send those documents again and again and again. And it was repetitive. The burden on you was a lot. And a lot of you guys were getting discouraged, and, fairly, because look at how many we have here to offer at the federal level. So it was just not fair for small businesses. So our current administrator created this new platform where now everything is centralized, everything is unified, where you will go starting, I think, in mid-September, I believe, they're going to reopen, where there's going to be just one platform where you send one application and you will send all, you're going to send all the documents into that platform, and there will be all the analysts that were one separate will be able to review that packet, and then they will be the ones essentially saying, oh, you qualify for WOSB, you qualify for 8A, you qualify for HubZone, which is going to be a great thing. Again, this way they're hoping that not only the review time are going to be quicker than it is now, just for those that weren't aware, for WOSB and EDWOSB, it was taking around 8 months from start to finish. So from application to approval, it was taking about 8 months. For 8A, it was taking around, I think, 90 days. Veteran-owned small business was taking 2 weeks. So you see, look at the discrepancy, right? And now everything is going to be unified. And we really do hope that this way, you guys don't have to send the same documentations over and over again. And, maybe you weren't, aware that, you qualify for other federal certifications. So this way, you will be able to qualify for as many as you can. And they are really hoping that from start to finish, you'll take, I think, less than 60 days. So again, that's a huge accomplishment. Again, right now, everything has been frozen, so new applications are not being accepted, but you guys are in a great, limbo now, that if you are interested, you can at least start gathering the documents. And once it reopens in September, it's going to be brand new. And I really do hope that you'll make it easier for everyone that is interested in applying. All right. And this is just a general resources as well. This is something that you as WOSB will get. We get a lot of access to resources. Please be mindful that you can always, of course, start your, federal contracting experience as a subcontractor as well. You don't have to always be the prime. That meaning, you are the one that receives the award. You can always subcontract to get more experience and go after bigger awards later. And of course, as a women-owned small business, you have access to potentially to joint ventures. So if you already have a relationship with the business and you believe that by joining ventures, you guys will be able to go after bigger and better contracts, you can do so as well. And you also qualify to apply for the Mentor Protege program, which is a program offered by SBA, where a mentor, you can choose a mentor and have that person help you along, your contracting journey as well. We don't provide a list of mentors, but if you already have one, you can officialize that as well through the MPP program. And you're going to have access to a lot of training, management, and technical assistance. And you can also have access to funding, depending on what is your need. And we can, of course, help you with that as well. Sure.
I got a question about the mentor protege thing.
Sure.
So the SBA does not match you to a mentor.
No, we do not.
Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they have to already have a mentor.
Yes. Yeah. Ideally, they already have to have some sort of relationship with that person. I always tell firms date before you get married, especially for everyone that gets a new federal certification. You will start having these cold calls, these random emails from people trying to partner with you. So, make sure that you vet that person properly before, mentoring, because in the Mentor Protege program, we'll have you sign, a contract and everything. And then, it's official. It gets pretty messy if you decide to, terminate that relationship. But yeah, unfortunately, we don't provide a list of mentors. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. And I mentioned as well right here, you as WOSB at WOSB have access to training, management, technical assistance programs, and one of them is the Empower to Grow, or E2G. This was formerly known as the 7J Management and Technical Assistance Program, and it's essentially a great program offered by SBA as well, free of charge to firms that qualify, WOSB and EDWOSB being one of them, where we will get just a multitude of classes and one-on-one consulting on, ranging from a bunch of different topics, accounting. So if you need help with QuickBooks, there will be a class on that. Business development, if you need help with, putting a proposal together, they have classes for that. Compliance, contract management, financial analysis, and all of the ones over there. I put the link here as well. Empower to Grow is available in the entire country, and they use different vendors for different locations. So depending where you are, you're going to have a vendor for that area. So we have one for the Great Plains, for example. But if you are, if you join us from the West Coast, you're going to have a different one. So do go access that, and you can see who in your area is offering those classes. But again, it's all free of charge. And I've heard really, really good things from firms that really do use it. It really does help them grow and just kind of develop their business even further. I've also added some resources as well here. We have at SBA what we like to call our procurement center representatives, or PCRs, and these folks are the ones that deal mostly with the contracting agencies. So I've added the PCR listing there for you to know who to call. So let's say that you are talking to the EPA and they're not understanding how to properly award something to you as a WOSB firm. Call that PCR, the services, the EPA, and they can always smooth things out and kind of help them finalize that contract. You can always call our district office. We'll be happy to assist you. So if you have any sort of, doubt or question about anything, we can help you there. And you can also call our resource partners there, Women Business Centers. PTAC, which I need to change that. This is, it has now changed to Apex Accelerator, and they are great for anything contracting. We also have our Small Business Development Center, the SBDC, and our SCORE. So if you're trying to find some sort of mentor in the industry in which you operate, you can always try the SCORE as well. And that's the link for the local assistance as well over there. Well, I think that is it. Let me turn my camera on. Let's see here. There it is. And I am open for questions if we have any.
I don't see any questions in the chat. Nothing has come through the Q&A. I do want to say that I kept writing questions down and then you answered them immediately after I wrote them down. So I think you did a great job at providing all of the information. But yeah, so Igor, I just want to thank you for doing this and the SBA. Appreciate that and everything that you guys do.
No problem.
And you know, if anybody on this call or participating has questions, they can of course reach out to the SBA, but they can also reach out to us, the New Growth Women's Business Center. So yeah, thanks a lot. I felt like I learned a lot and I'm really excited for the new platform to come out.
Yes,
Hopefully it'll be a lot easier for everybody.
No, absolutely. That would be great. All right. Well, Mo, thank you for the invitation. And yeah, if I'll send you the slides, I'll make some corrections, and then I'll send you, and then you can send it to everyone that registered. And yeah,
awesome.
if you're getting other questions, feel free to send them my way.
Okay. Thanks, Igor. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.